Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands. This will be the first battle report of the new edition of Kill Team, and it will see Astra Militarum vs Death Guard face off. It was really fun for us to play this game, and we can say without a doubt that this version of Kill Team is much more beautiful and exciting than the previous one. In any case, I'm Simone and I'll play Astra.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I'll be playing Death Guard. As you may have noticed, we have just reached the first 1000 subscribers and in just 6 months. As promised, on Saturday 18th, we will post a video with important announcements about the channel. And believe me, you don't want to miss it. And if you are not yet subscribed, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is Loot and Salvage. One of the aspects of the new Kill Team that we really like is the action system. There is much more freedom and dynamism in the actions that operatives can do. This also leads to much more interesting game objectives. In this mission, the two armies will have to deploy within these two areas. There are 6 objectives and they are arranged in this way. The goal of this game is to loot the weapons depots.
Each looting action will award 1 victory point. There will also be 3 secondary objectives each that will award points. Each player can score a maximum of 12 points from the primary objectives and a maximum of 2 points from each secondary objective, for a total of 6. The player with the most victory point is the winner. The game will last 4 turns. Both armies start with 0 command points, earning 1 point at the start of each turn.
Let's move on to the description of the armies. An Imperial outpost on the planet Sigilia is ready to fall. There are not enough troops to defend it from the advance of the Death Guard, and the order to retreat has been given. However, it is important not to leave armaments in the hands of the enemies. The goal of my Astra Militarum will be to retrieve as many weapons as possible before the main Death Guard army arrives. My kill team is composed by 2 fire teams. The first is led directly by the Sergeant Noon as leader. He is armed with a plasma pistol and a power weapon. He has also been given a carapace armor as additional equipment. The other members of the fire team are 3 guardsmen gunners armed with plasma gun, meltagun and flamer. The last 3 are mere troopers, 2 of which received a frag grenade and a crack grenade as additional equipment. The second fire team has inside a guardsman comms, a guardsman trooper who was given the medic kit as additional equipment, making him in effect the medic, and 2 guardsman gunners armed with grenade launcher and sniper rifle. Finally, there are 3 other guardsmen troopers.
After landing on the planet, the Death Guard sent teams to look out for outposts to turn into rotten experiments. As Nargol would have it, an Imperial outpost right near the landing area. Poor them, they don't know what diseases await them. My Death Guard kill team is composed of 2 fire teams, 1 Plague Marine fire team and a Poxwalker fire team. The operatives in the Plague Marine fire team are a Plague Marine warrior equipped with bolt gun, plague knife, crack grenade, virulent rounds and mephitic toxin. 1 Plague Marine gunner armed with meltagun, plague knife and virulent rounds. As a leader, a Plague Marine champion equipped with bolt gun, power fist and a Nargling. The Poxwalker fire team is composed of 8 operatives equipped with improvised weapons. Every model in my kill team has an ability called Disgustingly Resilient that allows them to roll a dice for each wound they take. With 5+, they ignore that wound. Also, my operatives cannot be injured.
Normally there would be the scouting phase, but in this match we prefer not to do it and go directly to the first round. Death Guard will be the attackers and the Astra the defenders. The attacker will have the initiative in the first round. In the new kill team, the operatives have an order that is given to them at the start of each turn. The orders are to engage and conceal. With the engage order, an operative can perform all actions but is visible to the enemy. With conceal order, the operative is hidden from the view of the enemy unless he's in open field, but he cannot perform the shoot and charge actions.
For the first turning point, the order I choose for my Poxwalkers is conceal. I need to get closer to the enemy without having casualties. Also, I will mainly use them to capture the objectives. I also have 3 interesting secondary objectives that I will reveal later. The Plague Marine, in the other hand, they can shoot. So I give them the engage order.
Andrea's army is almost entirely melee focused and my advantage is definitely the superior firepower. I will have to be able to make the most of it to prevent Andrea from getting too close. Unfortunately, Death Guard units have the Disgustingly Resilient rule, which makes them very tough. It will not be easy. I've deployed my leader in the center, so he can give orders to the models within 6 inches of him, and he comes in a position where he can relay them. The plasma gun, grenade launcher and meltagun are deployed in the center, while the flamer and the sniper rifle are deployed to control the flanks along with the troopers.
In the strategy phase, I use the strategic ploy Malicious Volley for 1 command point, that allows every operator equipped with a bolt weapon to shoot twice.
I use a strategic ploy Take Aim for a command point. Each operative within 6 inches of the leader receives this order, which allows the model to reroll attack dice results of 1 during shoot action.
Then, in the target reveal, we both activate the TAC Ops Protect Assets that allows us to score 1 victory point if at the end of any turning point 2 or more enemy operatives were incapacitated while within 2 inches of an objective marker during that turn. Since I have the initiative, I start first. Then, Timothy, my Marine Warrior, shoots at the plasma gun for attacks.
I have 3 defense dice, but being in cover, 1 is automatically successful.
For attacks at 3, hitting 2.
Rolling my 2 dice at 3. Both! With 3 successes in total against his 2, my plasma gun takes no damage.
Okay, he shoots you again thanks to the ploy. Again, for attacks at 3, hitting 1 crit this time.
3 more dice at 5. I prefer to roll the 3rd dice as well to try to make a critical defense. Which doesn't come. Andrea struck with a critical hit.
Crit wound means 5 wounds to the plasma gun. Plus, having less than half of his hit points, he is injured. This means that he has -1 to the movement, the ballistic, and weapon skills.
Ah! Medic!
And as last action, he moves in cover behind the container.
The medic has witnessed the companion being wounded and is ready for action. With 1 action point, he uses the medikit on the wounded and heals him by 2d3. 5! It's back as good as new! Done his duty, the doctor moves in search of other companions to save. As guardsmen troopers are simple units, I can activate 2 at the same time. Terry moves towards the container to get closer to the objectives while remaining undercover.
Alfred and Jerry, the 2 Poxwalkers, activate together, and they approach the objective ready to loot it. Unfortunately, they have to spend 2 action points to be able to perform the actions of the objectives, so for the moment, they just hide.
Donovan, being my team sniper, needs a high position to perform at his best, so he uses movement and dash to position himself on the building.
It's James and Mike's turn, who aim the objective in front of them and move behind the containers to stay hidden.
Zig has the Meltagun, which has a range of 6 inches or Pentagon if you like, so for now he can just approach the building waiting for the right moment.
Max and Cotton take cover behind the building. The center of the map is a little exposed, but by squeezing a bit, they should be able to stay out of sight.
Elon brings with him a flamer with short range, and he too takes cover waiting for more exciting moments.
Chris runs and takes cover behind the container. Bob, instead, in order to get closer to the target, is forced to use Chris as a cover, and ducks behind his companion's hammer.
Sergeant Noon moves forward to get a more complete view of the situation.
My Marine Gunner Jane snaps and reaches the target in front of her and starts looting the ammo boxes. If you are wondering why the objectives have dice on them, in this mission, each objective can be looted a maximum of 3 times, once per turn. That said, Jane grabs a few bullets and gives me my first victory point.
Lugo and Vince move forward looking for targets to shoot at. Lugo moves first and positions himself to be able to target the Plague Marine in front of the objective. 4 shots at 4. Wow, what a bad roll! Lugo completely misses the shots. Vince joins his partner and he also targets the Marine. Again, 4 shots at 4. 2 hit!
Let's see if Jane's armor is thick enough. Need 3+ to save. Oh, what can I say? They don't even leave a mark. Now it's up to Robert, my champion, who runs and positions himself in order to have a view on some Imperial. Then points the weapon in the direction of the plasma gun and fires 4 shots at 2. Hitting 3 even if slightly.
I have 3 defense dice at 5+. 2 shots saved!
3 wounds to the plasma gun.
Hey medic! They wounded me again! Roy is not happy that he was wounded, so he seeks revenge. He moves into a better position for aiming and releases 4 overloaded shots at 4. It means that for every one he does, he self-inflicts 3 wounds. Oh, there are 2 ones! But Roy can reroll them thanks to the order of the leader. That's better, 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits.
The overloaded plasma has 2 armor penetration. This means that it reduces my defensive dice by 2, therefore I roll just 1 dice. 2 hits through.
11 wounds for our friend Marine.
My Robert is disgustingly resilient, so I throw 11 dice. Every 5 or 6 is an ignored wound. 7 wounds to my champion. Since I have no more models to activate, I can use the Overwatch action until the opponent runs out of operatives as well. Overwatch allows already activated models to fire again but with a -1 to hit. Each valid operative can only use Overwatch once per turn. This time, Robert is targeting the medic. 4 hits at 3. Only to hit the target.
3 saves at 5+. Ah, too bad, I only saved 1.
Yes, go heal yourself.
The doctor is injured. Is there another doctor who can look after him? Rodney takes courage and moves forward, ready to face the foul-smelling Marine. As you may have guessed from the model, Rodney is armed with a grenade and decides to throw it. 4 shots at 3. Just to hit the target.
Rolling 2 dice for the -1 penetration. Just 1 hit saved. Let's see if Robert can ignore the wounds. I guess not. Not resilient enough. 1 wound left.
Gover moves sideways for a clean line of sight and fires on the Marine remaining with 1 wound. 4 shots at 4+. 3 hits.
I need to save them. 3 threes, please. Of course not. Will his ability save him? Unlucky. Robert dies.
Grandpa goes into cover and places his grenade launcher on the crate for better aim and fires at the Marine next to the objective. 4 hits on 4. 2 hit, including 1 critical hit. Reroll the 1 thanks to the order of the leader. And here's another crit!
Once again, -1 penetration, so 2 dice at 3+. 1 shot saved. 10 wounds through, this means that I have to roll 10 dice. Let's see. Well, 5 out of 10. It's okay.
Liam decoms, uses his unique action, Signal, and gives his action point to the guardsman next to him. Then takes aim and fires on the Marine next to the objective. 4 hits at 4. 2 critical hits!
Need 2 6s or 1 6 and 2 3s to save. Close! 1 crit passes. Will Jane be disgustingly resilient? Not enough. 1 wound through.
Roloff is the last model I can activate. With the extra action point received by the comms, he approaches the objective and also shoots the Marine in front of him. 4 shots at 4+. I reroll the 1 for the leader's order. 2 successful hits.
3 dice once again at 3+ to save. All 3 saved. Nice!
Disappointed that the Marine's armor deflected his shots, Roloff bends over and collects some ammo from the crates, scoring 1 victory point.
The first round is finally over. Honestly, it could have been much better. My champion died right away, and the gunner is half-life. But no big deal. Hoping the dice will favor me in the next few rounds, even taking losses, I shouldn't have problems considering my goals.
The first round went well overall. I managed to kill Andreas Leader, who is the model with the most wounds in his possession and probably the most dangerous. It's a great result, but I'm not completely satisfied. I missed too many important shots. I need to be able to make my superior firepower prevail a lot more. For the moment we are both at 1 victory point, the next round will be crucial. Initiative roll. Ah, just a 3.
1. Dan, you're first.
This turn I chose the engage order for almost all of the models so that I can shoot with all of them. My plan is to achieve as many objectives as possible. My sniper has the conceal order since the sniper rifle allows him to shoot even if he's hidden. The right flank is important as it has the ability to achieve the greatest number of objectives. The men in the center will have to hold their position and shoot everything they see, while on the left flank, I should have an easily manageable situation.
Like the previous round, every boxwalker but one have the conceal order. The boxwalkers are positioned on the objectives to loot them, and being hidden, Simone shouldn't be able to target them. The 2 marines instead have the engage order just to be able to shoot. In the firefight phase, they will sprint forward to try to control the center of the field.
In the strategy phase, I use a command point to give the order take aim as in the first round. Then, during the target reveal, I activate the TAC Ops damage limitation, which grants me a victory point if I take no losses this turn.
We both then activate the TAC Ops, hold the line, which grants us a victory point in case there is no enemy model within 6 inches of our drop zone at the end of the turn.
Having just arrived on the roof, the sniper is eager to get to work and targets the boxwalker next to the container, using its elevated position to bypass the enemy's conceal order. 4 hits at 3. 2 successful hits, including a critical hit, which in addition to normal damage also does a mortal wound. I reroll the 1 thanks to take aim. Obviously, another 1.
3 dice at 6. Okay, that's okay. Let's see if Disgusting Resilience saves him. 2 out of 7. Not bad, he's still alive. Jane runs towards the building using movement and dash. And leaning over, she targets the Meltagun. 4 attacks at 3. Not the best roll.
With -2 penetration, I only have 1 defense dice to roll. At least it's a critical defense. Well done! With 6 wounds, Zig is left with only 1 wound. The Doctor is always in the right place at the right time. Wasting no time, he runs over to Zig and gets him back on track with 2d3. 3 wounds healed, he's back at 4. Rodney is next to the objective and positions himself in such a way as to be able to loot it, and with his remaining action collects some ammunition, giving me the second victory point.
Eager to fight, Max charges head-on at the first enemy he finds, meeting the recently wounded Meltagun. The combat action works differently. We both roll the dice at the same time and compare them. Then, one at a time, we choose whether to parry with one of our successful dice, removing a dice from the opponent, or whether to attack by wounding the enemy model. Max throws 4 shots at 4.
Zig instead rolls 3 hits at 4+. I have 2 dice that have been successful.
Of course, I only have 1. Being the attacker, I start first and I decide to attack, inflicting 2 wounds.
Here you go. Both of my dice attack, inflicting 4 wounds on the Poxwalker, and the fight ends.
Bob quietly loots the target, finding a lot of weapons that he doesn't know what to do with. Then, he ducks again behind his friend's hammer. Second victory point for me.
Elon the Flamer looks for a higher point that gives him a better view and climbs the building. Once he's there, he finds 2 Poxwalkers below him and turns on the grill. 5 hits at 2+ on the first Poxwalker. All in!
Let's see if I can save some hits, even if I doubt. 3 dice at 6. As I thought. Disgustingly resilient ability, 10 dice on 5+. Alfred is cooked to perfection, but he's still alive, left with a wound.
Thanks to the torrent characteristic of the Flamer, the flames spread to the Poxwalker next to him, who takes another 5 hits on 2+. 3 flames got him!
3 dice at 6 for him as well, and he also fails his saving throw. 6 dice at 5 for the ability. Only 2. Already wounded, he collapses to the ground charred. Ah, there's not a good smell there. Alfred, despite some flames still burning on his clothes, focuses on real priorities. He bends down and collects the ammunition from the crate. Another victory point for me. Seeing the scene from afar, Cotton climbs the palace and approaches the Flamer menacingly.
Terry, seeing no one in front of him, runs to the objective and loots it before anyone else can get there. More resources for the Astra, another victory point for me. Vince follows Terry's example and approaches the other objective on his left. He reaches the chest, he opens it and loots it, and with this I reach 4 victory points.
Timothy, seeing the Astra steal his objectives, gets angry and releases all his shots on Terry. 4 shots at 3. 3, including 2 critical hits.
3 saves at 5+ for Terry. Not even 1. Well, I'd say Terry's dead. 13 wounds, almost double the 7 he has.
Not happy, Timothy decides to charge Vince in close combat, just to make things clear. The crates belong to him. 3 hits at 3.
Vince instead has 3 dice at 4. 2 successful attacks.
I don't like those ones. I reroll 1 with a common point. 5, way better. I use the first dice to attack, doing 4 wounds to Vince.
I use a dice to defend myself, removing 1 attack from the Marine, and with the other critical hit, I inflict 3 wounds to the enemy.
Timothy is left with 9 wounds because I disgustingly forgot to roll for his ability.
Vince is left with 3 wounds, and is injured. Roloff glimpses the Black Marine behind the wall and fires. 4 hits at 4. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
Because Jane is covered, she has an automatically successful save dice. And the other 2 are also successful. Jane is safe.
Roloff has the supply crates next to him and starts looking for stronger weapons. Another victory point for me and I get to 5. Lugo moves to a more favorable position and points his finger at the Marine in front of him, then takes up his rifle and shoots him. 4 hits at 4. Whole hit with 2 critical hits. Pointing helps. Aim small, miss small.
Again 3 dice on 3 to save. And boom! All 3. I choose to save a critical hit with 2 of my successful dice and a normal hit with my last one left, suffering a total of 5 wounds. Rolling for the skill, and I ignore 3 wounds. Down to 4 wounds. James approaches the objective and stares it intently, not being able to do anything else with his only action left. Mike instead charges the injured Cadian to finish him off. He approaches threateningly, dragging the hammer behind him and lifts it up just to smash it on the little man. 4 attacks at 4. Whoa, it's super effective! 3 crits and 1 normal hit.
I doubt I can do anything about it. A critical and a normal hit for me.
Being able to hit first, I use a critical hit to deal damage and take out the Cadian.
Before Vince can do anything, a giant hammer explodes his brain. Where is Vince?
Over there, and up there.
Roy loads his plasma gun and releases 4 normal shots at 4 on the Marine behind the wall. All hit including a critical hit.
With -1 penetration, I can only roll 2 dice, but being on cover, one of them is automatically successful. The other, on the other hand, is a critical defense. But still 10 wounds. Death Guard ability. 5 wounds saved. But that's not enough. With a puff of smoke, Jane abandons us. Chris, seeing Jane explode, runs to take her position, and with movement and dash, manages to reach the wall of the building.
Grandpa is finally able to see the Poxwalker who was hiding behind his friend's hammer until now, and takes aim at him. 4 shots at 4. Aww, he's old but he still has the aim.
Trying to make himself as small as possible, Chris needs 2 sixes to save at least 2 shots. But the grenade takes him full. 17 shots to save on 5+. 4. Too bad. Almost there. What remains of him is a smoldering stain on the ground. Timothy turns and overwatch on the first Cadian he sees. And the fortunate is Gover. 4 hits at 4 due to the -1. Only 2.
3 save dice at 5+. Only 1. Ouch! Gover suffers 5 wounds and has only 2 left. Zig is still in close combat, and at this point I could have him retreat and shoot the Poxwalker with the others, but where is the honor in that? Cadians don't run away from fighting. You know, Cadia stands. Zig decides to fight by making 3 attacks on 4.
The Poxwalker instead makes 4 attacks on 4.
Maybe I should have retreated. Maybe that's why Cadia fell. Zig delivers an attack doing 2 damage on the Poxwalker.
Max, in return, defends himself with one of his successful dice, taking out the last of Zig's attacks, and with the rest of the dice, he deals 4 damage, killing him. Then, I roll to see if Max can ignore his wounds. Nothing to do. 2 wounds for you.
Gover is upset by the death of his best friend Zig and tries to avenge him by shooting the Poxwalker, making 4 attacks at 5 due to the -1 caused from his injury. 1 critical hit is enough.
Need 6 to save. Nope. 3 dice for disgustingly resilient. Since he only has 1 wound remaining, 1 dice isn't enough. And Max collapses dead on top of Zig's body. Both have found their end there, and will always be remembered.
All until the end of the game.
Only until the end of the game.
Once his friend has been avenged, Gover moves in search of more enemies to kill. Liam walks through the ruins and positions himself so he can see the Black Marine, then aims his weapon and fires. 4 hits at 4. 2 hits.
1 dice is successful for the cover, and the other 2 are successful as well. No wounds.
Sergeant Noon has been waiting until this moment to get into action, hiding behind the wall. But now it's the time. The leader holds his power weapon and charges the Poxwalker next to him. Arriving in melee, he unleashes his 4 attacks on 4. His weapon has the little 5+ ability, which means that the results of 5 count as critical. 1 normal and 1 critical hit.
Chris hits 3 normal attacks. The Cadian makes the damage of the critical hit, then Chris uses 1 dice to defend and the other 2 to attack, making 4 wounds in total. Chris should take 6 damage, but he is disgustingly resilient and only takes 3.
This fight didn't go exactly as expected. Maybe I got a little too caught up in the fun and the story because I lost the Meltagun I could have saved and put the leader in a dangerous position. But what can I do about it? I'm not a competitive player, give me a good story and that's okay for me. In the end I still reached 5 victory points and I still have the numerical superiority compared to Andrea. Let's see how the next turn will go, but I'm pretty confident.
At the end of the second round, I earn a victory point for the TAC Ops Protect the Assets, and another victory point for the TAC Ops Hold the Line, reaching 5 like Simone. The second round certainly went better than the first, and I am very confident in the success of the third round. The left side of the field is totally under my control, and my models are exactly where they should be. Of course, having the gunner still wouldn't have been bad, but that's okay. Next round.
Rolling for initiative.
Great! The initiative is mine. Considering that I have the initiative, I only gave the conceal order to the Poxwalkers close to the objectives, while to the remaining models I gave the engage order. Since we both have 5 victory points, this round I will try to focus more on primary and secondary objectives, than on killing Cadians. I had to be able to take advantage of the positions of my models.
Like the previous round, almost of my models have the engage order. Andrea is left with few models, and if in this round I manage to kill even the last marine, I will be able to accumulate many victory points in the next turn. I hope I can get some good dice rolls, I really need them.
In this turn, I activate Malastack Ops, upload viral code, which allows me to earn 1 victory point if I activate the action within a distance of 6 inches from my opponent's drop zone. Alfred, suffering from the only wound left, starts looting the ammo boxes and earns me a victory point. Cotton, instead, charges the Cadian with the Flamer in order to buy as much time as possible for his partner to work on the crates. Once he reaches his foe, he unleashes 4 attacks at 4+. 2 normal hits.
Elon takes out his bayonet, and not being able to attach it to the barrel of the flamer, he wields it violently with his hand. And we can see that only one successful hit.
With the first dice, Cotton defends himself from the Cadian's attack, and then throws a backhand on his cheek, causing him to spit out a tooth, dealing him 2 wounds.
Rodney, unaware of the fight that is taking place above him, focuses on gathering ammo for his teammates and earns my 6th victory point. Roloff as well searches through the crates and finds the last available ammunition. Then he moves to another crate in front of him.
Timothy throws a grenade on the Cadian who is pointing at him. I mean, they never told you it's rude to point. 4 shots on 3+, 2 normal hits and 1 critical hit.
With -1 penetration, I only have 2 dice to roll, and the result is bad. I would say that is dead.
After blowing up the rude man, Timothy loots the crate nearby to find a nice victory point for me. With his last action, he sticks to the wall.
Liam hears disturbing noises coming from above the building and moves back to understand what it is. When he sees Elon in trouble, he gives him an action point thanks to his ability Signal.
Mike turns around and, smiling creepily, he charges the Cadian leader. 4 attacks at 3 thanks to the presence of his partner next to him. 2 successful attacks.
Sergeant Noon is clearly shaken by the monster's weird smile, so much so that he misses all the shots. Reroll an attack with a command point. Okay, he's clearly too shaken.
I'm starting to understand why Harley Quinn loves that hammer. With 2 well-aimed blows, the Cadian loses his head. Mike reigns! Now that Chris is free from the fight with the Cadian, he can go back to work and load the viral code, giving me a victory point.
Elon disengages from combat by getting as far as possible from the madman with a huge wrench and positioning himself within 6 inches of Andrea's deployment zone, in order to block his stack hopes. Then go back to the grill, permanently roasting the Poxwalker beneath him. 5 shots on 2+. All succeeded!
I seriously doubt I'll be able to save him this time. Precisely. Let's see how disgustingly resilient he is. Well, congratulations. You overcooked it. Now lunch is ruined. Hush hush, James continues rummaging through the crates and finds a sock in it. James is a free Poxwalker! Thanks for the victory point, James.
Donovan followed through the lens of his sniper rifle the scene between the flamer and the Poxwalker. As Elon moves away from the monster, Donovan pulls the trigger and the shot reaches the Poxwalker on the roof. 4 hits at 3. 1 critical hit and 2 normal hits. Thanks to the crit, Donovan inflicts a mortal wound in addition to the others.
6+ to save him. Not even close. Ability please, save him. Wow, he barely survived. He's left with only 1 wound. With a hole in his stomach, but still alive. Having finished all the models to activate, Timothy can shoot Overwatch and targets the Cadian holding the grenade next to the objective. 4 hits at 4 due to the -1 of the Overwatch. Just 1 hit is not enough for me. I reroll 1 with a command point. Critical hit! Worth!
3 dice at 5+ to save. Nah, there's nothing to do. Rodney's soul leaves the battlefield. The medic continues his important work and runs to heal Gover, who is left with only 2 wounds. 2d3. 5 wounds healed! He's back in top shape! Good job! Gover, pleased with his new bandages, climbs onto the container and targets the Poxwalker on the roof. Just one normal shot.
Let's see if I can make at least a 6. Nothing to do. Let's try to do the 2 5s of the ability. 1 is not enough. Cotton is recalled by Nargol.
Grandpa moves forward so that all enemies are in full view and loads his grenade launcher, then releases the area shot hitting all 3 models. 2 successful shots on the first one.
The 6 defends the critical hit and only 1 hit passes. And the ability saves him. No wounds to Chris.
The second Poxwalker takes the blast in full, with 2 critical hits and 2 normal hits.
His raincoat defends him from a critical hit, but the rest pass. The ability manages to keep him alive, leaving him with only 1 wound.
The third and final hit is on the Marine, and only 2 normal hits are successful.
His armor is tough enough to fully protect him. Mike, for a moment I was afraid you were dead.
Roy has the honor of being the last to shoot. First, he moves to a position where he can see the Poxwalker, then fires 4 normal shots at 4+. Wow, only 1.
Saving with 6, or not. Disgustingly resilient ability. Nope, he's gone. Rest in disease. You did a great job. At the end of the third round, I earned an additional victory point for the TAC Ops Protect the Assets, reaching 10 victory points. This round went very well. The Marine survived, and I still have enough models that can bring me more victory points. If all goes as I hope it goes, I should be able to score enough points next round to secure victory. I just need the initiative.
This round was pretty disappointing. Yes, I killed some Poxwalkers, but the real problem is that Marine. Luckily, I have the chance to recover several objectives next round, and they might be enough to make me win. In this round I managed to block Andrea's TAC Ops and earn several points from the main objectives, as well as a point from the TAC Ops Protect the Assets, reaching 8 victory points in total. We are not so far in points, this game is still to be played.
Rolling for initiative.
Double 1! With a tie, the initiative goes to the player who didn't have it in the previous round. That is me! My goal this turn will be to get as many objectives as possible and fill that Marine with fire, hoping to kill him. Unfortunately, my sniper has no one inside this turn. This means that he will not be able to do anything. Too bad.
Okay, no problem. If I can make the Marine survive Simone's first action, I could still do without the initiative. Meanwhile, I give the order concede to the Poxwalker next to the objective, making it untargetable and guaranteeing me a victory point. For the rest, let's see how it will go.
Roloff knows that he has to run as hard as he can to avoid getting shot by the Marine before he reaches the objective, so he activates first and runs for the crates, picking up an Asthma Inhaler and even finding a victory point for me. Gover is all alone with no enemies nearby, so he jumps down from the container and starts searching through the crates to find some ammo. Another victory point for me.
Timothy thanks the Cadence for not using him as a target and loots what's left of the objective next to him. Then turns around and loads the Viral Agent, earning a total of 2 victory points.
Liam moves to the center of the action and targets the last Poxwalker he can see, making 4 shots at 4. 2 hit!
6 to save. That's not enough. I roll 4 dice at 5 for the ability. 2 wounds saved. Unfortunately, however, with only 1 wound remaining, Mike collapses to the ground smiling. He knows he did this job. I will miss you, Mike. Lastly, James keeps searching through those crates and finds the final victory points of that objective, taking me to 13 victory points. Then, he sits down waiting for the main army to arrive.
Roy decides to climb the building to get a better view of his target. Then he raises his plasma gun and targets the Plague Marine, trying to kill him once and for all. 4 normal hits at 4. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
Let's see if the armor will be enough. Yes! The Marine is safe. To finish the work, Timothy fires 4 shots at the medic, trying to knock him down for good. 4 attacks at 4. Reroll an attack with a command point just to be sure. Forget it. 1 critical hit and 1 normal hit.
I roll 2 saving dice, since the third is automatically successful due to cover. Unfortunately, the doctor has finished his work. Thanks for everything you've done. Rampa loads his grenade launcher and fires a crack shot at the Marine. 4 attacks on 4. Oh boy. Old age. Reroll a dice with a command point. Yeah, sorry, he's tired. The game ends here, and with 13 victory points for Andrea against 10 mine, the victory goes to the Death Guard.
It seemed impossible, but we did it. No, come on, seriously. The game started uphill due to the Astra's fire superiority. But already from the second round, I was able to position the models where I wanted. The wall of the building protected me from the sniper and other heavy weapons that Simone had. The secondary objective played a very important role in the match, as if it had been for the main objectives alone, Simone would have won. All in all, I would say that the Death Guard's ability is disgustingly strong. The new edition of Kill Team is really very interesting and promising. Its dynamism ensures fun even in the most competitive games. I really enjoyed playing this game.
Congratulations, you have won the first game of the new edition of Kill Team. It was definitely a close match. Probably if I had less fun creating difficult situations for my Cadians, maybe I might even have won. An extra metagun would certainly have made a difference. But that's okay with me, my Cadians have done their duty anyway, and looted many crates. Survivors will bring the resources they found to their new outpost and prepare their revenge from there. And with this we conclude. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I remind you that next week we will post the video with announcements about the channel. I advise you not to miss it, there will be interesting news.
And if you have come this far, write the word Grandpa in the comments to let us know. You are the best! And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!